everybody, and welcome to part 3 of my book discussion. I am your author, Brinzy Thompson, and the name of my book is 30 Single and Still Deserving, Why My Age Doesn't Mean I Have to Settle. Again, just thankful for the outpouring of love from the last video. The views for that video increased tremendously, and that just means so much to me. So thank you for all of those who watched it, part of it, all of it, shared it, commented, liked it, didn't like it, watched it on the sly. Whatever part you played in getting me the views, I appreciate you. Thank you again for your questions. And I am so excited today to be talking about our next chapters, which is The Proof Is Not in the Fight and Be Seen, Girl, Be Seen. So I'm going to dive right in. Don't want to waste any time. Start with a few questions that I got. Thank you so much for submitting those again. It means the world to me. And let's do it. First question. What do you do to overcome writer's block? Gosh, anyone who writes or tries to write or blogs knows about writer's block. And it is such a huge thing that happens with writers and creatives. And sometimes it's a creative block that you get. And for me personally, I find that stopping and taking a step back from whatever it is that I'm working on is the best thing to do. Just give myself a breather, maybe go for a walk, watch some TV, listen to some music. And I might not touch it for a few minutes or a few hours or even a few days, and just kind of clear my mind and then come back to it. And usually I'm back on focus. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I just start writing and let it flow however it may be. And then an hour later, I'm like, wow, I really wrote something. So just different things that you can do. Those are some of the things that I do. Would be interested to hear if anyone does anything else. So if so, chime in the comments. Thank you for your question. Question number 2, how did you decide which stories to share in your book? I think that I got the title of my book, 30 Single and Still Deserving, and then really sat and thought about things that I had dealt with that were not reflective of what I deserved. I thought about friendships and situationships, as I call them, and male relationships that I had that had kind of impacted me the most over the years. And I began jotting those down, just situations that happened when I was in those relationships or friendships, and how it made me feel, what the outcomes of those were, how I felt when I was dealing with it, things like that. And this was just a narrowed down version of things that I've experienced, which I think everyone can say that in their lives. So that's kind of what I did. Mainly those relationships or friendships or situationships that kind of impacted me the most is how I decided on which stories to share in my book. And maybe there will be a part 2 to this, but that was what was done for this book. Thank you for your question. Question number 3, in your chapter, Be Seen, Girl, Be Seen, why didn't you ever ask the guy out? That's a great question as well, because I do kind of call him out on why he never asked me out. Why I didn't, fear, basically, I guess when it boils down to it, was fear of rejection. And I didn't want to be rejected. And then too, I talk about how I just gotten comfortable and I didn't want to ruin what we had by asking him and him saying no. So I think just between fear of being rejected and then also losing that sense of comfortableness that we had, I just didn't. I have no idea why I didn't, but that's what I would assume in my mind is why I did, or that's why I didn't. Yeah. Thank you for your question. Number 4, after publishing the book, do you regret how transparent you were in your writing? Great question. And simple answer is no. Anyone who has been a part of my life, especially via social media, knows how transparent that I have been with my life, the good, the bad, the ugly, the ups, the downs. I mean, I've shared so much on social media. Some of it, obviously, I regret. I do think that you overshare sometimes, or I overshare sometimes, but that's been a kind of live and learn situation. And so if I go back and look at my posts 5-10 years ago versus kind of what I post now and what I've tried to do, I do want to share, because I think that a lot of times people are inspired, or people learn more about themselves, or people just become more confident in who they are by us sharing with others. And I think some people, we don't share enough of our lives, and not, maybe your purpose isn't to do that on a public platform, kind of like what I do, but just in your everyday talking and meeting with people, and those people who are close to you in our lives. I feel like parts of our lives should be shared with them. My biblical side of that is, there's a scripture that says we are overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And so a lot of things I share are testimonies of my life. And I've always kind of been transparent with that. Regardless if you ask me publicly or if you ask me privately, I've kind of been an open book and sharing parts of my life with people, and basically in hopes that it would inspire them to be better, to do better, to go out and live their life, to not be ashamed, not be afraid. And that's just kind of who I am. Again, I have overshared plenty, and people have called me out on that, or I've kind of learned on my own as I went along the journey. And sometimes I still do, sometimes I do, but that's just who I am. So no, I don't regret it. Hope that answers your question. Thank you for your question. Perfect. Those are all the questions for this time. Thank you again for those. Like I said, I really appreciate that you take the time to submit those. It means the world to me. So thank you. Now, let's dive into the book. The first chapter that we are going to talk about today is The Proof is Not in the Fight. And I'm going to read the first full page of this chapter. Really, it's on page 22 of the book, if you are following along, because it really sets the foundation to this chapter. And it says, I immediately began crying as I typed the title of this chapter out. Why, you ask? For so long, I fought to keep certain men in my life. Sometimes it was a relationship I was trying to fight for, but even more than that, it was for friendship. Just recently, I ended a relationship with a man and tried for a couple of months to fight for him back, to fight for our relationship, to fight and prove to him that we were meant to be together. Reality is, we shouldn't have to fight for anyone to stay in our lives or to prove our love. If a man chooses to walk out of your life and stop going after the same things that you are, then let him. Check out these definitions of fight. A violent confrontation or struggle, quarrel or to argue, a battle of war. None of those definitions define ways in which a relationship should operate. We have this notion of fighting for love all wrong. You should fight to survive an illness. Soldiers fight to win a war. Firefighters fight to put out a fight. Boxers fight to win a match. But we should not have to fight for a man to love us. And this chapter was so profound to me, because I don't think I had realized it before I sat and thought about it and wrote this chapter, about how we tell people to fight for love and to fight for a man and to fight for relationships. And I don't think you should have to fight for it. Those definitions that I said of fight do not define how a relationship should work. I do agree that two people should work together for a better relationship. And then when you're working together for it, say your relationship or your friendship is on the rocks with someone, and we say, fight for that relationship. But if the two people are both fighting for it, it's not fighting. To me, that's working together or working towards a certain goal. So in the sense of fighting, no, I don't think that we should have to do that. But I do think it's important that both people be on board in working towards a better relationship and friendship. Especially when it comes to women and what they put up with or want from a man. Do not fight for him. If you have to fight for him, let him go. Trust me, let him go. I wrote, there should be a mutual agreement that you both are working towards the same thing in order to strengthen and improve the relationship, not fighting for. And then in this chapter, specifically, I talk about a guy, and we started off as friends, and the friendship flourished into an even more greater friendship. And then we went through some things over the years, and I mustered up the courage to ask him if he liked me, and his response was no, which I was even okay with that. I just wanted to know for myself. But then it became a point where he got in a relationship with someone else, and the female did not like how his and I friendship functioned. which wasn't even anything big. It was a text every now and then, maybe a phone call, but other than that, it was nothing. And I remember him telling me about having the issue with the female, and he didn't know what to do. And I remember wanting to, I'll never forget, I was at my parents' house sitting on the porch. I'll never forget it. And I wanted to write this long message back to him, trying to fight for our friendship and fight for a place in his life and fight and explain to him why he shouldn't let her get in the way of our friendship. And so this one wasn't even a relationship context. It was just for a friendship. And I wanted to do that so bad. But then I stopped and thought that if he didn't think that our friendship was worth explaining to her and continuing to have, then what was the point in me doing it? And I do agree that once you are in a relationship with someone, there has to be that line drawn. But for me, like, I'm a ride or die friend. Ride or die, regardless. If I get in a relationship with someone else, I'm letting them know up front, I have these friendships with these males that don't mean anything other than friendship. And if you can't accept that, then I don't know what I've done that in so many of my relationships. And proven and told people that specifically, like, I'll tell you up front, I'm gonna talk to Joe Carroll just about every single day. It's nothing more than friends. He's my best friend in the entire world. And if we're gonna be in a relationship, you have to be okay with that. That's just one example. But this guy, I don't know if he didn't want to do that or if he loved, I don't know what it was, but I decided that I was not going to fight for a spot in his life. And so instead, I told him that, hey, you do what you want to do. I want you to be happy. And that was such a growth place for me, because so many times I would have written the long dissertation message and tried to fight to stay in the person's life. But at the end of the day, I think true friendship is when you want to see those friends happy. And so I told him that I want you to be happy. And so you do what you need to do to be happy in your life. And I didn't hear from him after that for quite some time. And I even talk about how we're still connected on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. We're still connected those ways, but our communication, even to this day, is still the bare minimum. But I've always let him know that I am there for him and that I want the best for him, but I am not going to fight I'm not going to fight for you to talk to me. I'm not going to fight for a spot in your life. I'm not going to fight for a text message back. I'm not going to fight for that. And if he really wanted that, I think that the feelings would be mutual. And so I encourage you to kind of take that stance in your friendships, in your relationships with other people, that if it becomes a point where you feel like you are fighting and then fighting on your own, which means you both are not working together towards it, then take a step back and take that friendship, take that relationship for what it really is, and know that it is not worth the time and the energy for you to fight for it. On page 28, I end with, as hard as it may be sometimes, learn to stop fighting for a spot in a man's life. Fight for what's best for you. Fight for your heart, fight for your emotions, fight for your peace of mind, self-respect, self-worth, but never ever fight to prove your love to a man. Remember, a man that wants to be kept will be kept all on his own, not because you had to fight for him. And I hope that helps someone like it helped me. And it's really helped me from that point forward with relationships and friendships and situationships and mailships in my life. And I hope you take a step back and think about that too. The next chapter was Be Seen, Girl, Be Seen. And this chapter, wow, this chapter is still quite interesting in my life. Because I do believe this is not only valid for relationships, but friendships as well. And if you have some sense of relationship or friendship with someone and they never want to be seen in public with you, like, that's a problem. So for me personally, I'm a huge social media person. I love taking pictures, and even regardless if I post or don't post the pictures, because I have so many pictures I've never posted, it's just the principle of I want them for my memories. And we hear all the time, you never know when the last time is going to be that you see someone. And that rings so true. You just never know. And so having that sense of security with that person, that you can even take a picture together. Like, I'm thinking back in this chapter, and I've never even taken a picture with this. I've never taken a picture with this guy. And I think it's so important that you are heard and felt and seen at some point in the relationship or even a friendship with someone. And this guy, 12 years, and I think we were just seen out in public last year, but it's because we were at the same kicking spot, which was cool. And he talked to me when we were there. We talked. So it's not like, I guess he's not ashamed of our friendship, but it was just the fact that we were intimate with each other, and it not even the whole 12 years. So I kind of mistaken, right? That we, because there have been times where we were not intimate with each other, but we've known each other and been close with each other for 12 years. And even to this day, we've never went out and had coffee. We've never went out and had dinner. We've never went and seen a movie together. But for so long, we had this connection with one another where I would go to his house, and there were times where he would come to my house. And even before we lived on our own, like when I still lived at my parents' house, he would come and sit in my parents' driveway. And I think he came in and met my parents one time, if I'm not mistaken. But we've never, ever been seen out in public together. And to me, that's such a problem, and not just with this relationship or a friendship, but with anybody that you are involved with on any sort of intimate level. If it's not at the point where you can go out and have coffee together, or if he hasn't even asked you, or if you haven't asked him, I answered that in my question. I never even asked him, and why I didn't feel comfortable enough to be like, hey, let's go get dinner. Why was I not comfortable to do that? And I think you should ask yourself those same questions. I am not saying there should not be a level of privacy. 1000% agree that there should be a level of privacy with you and your relationships and your friendships with people. But this was completely different in that for 12 years, we have been friends and we've never went out and had a drink together or dinner together. I think another reason why this particular friendship didn't go to the next level again was because I just got comfortable. And it's easy to get wrapped up in comfort. With him, it was easy, and we were both comfortable-ish with each other as the years went by. And I think that's kind of what happened, at least on my end, was that I got okay with, here's somebody that I can hit up, and I know that the answer is always going to be yes. You can come over and watch a movie. Yes, you can come over and chill. Yes, you can come over and do whatever. That I didn't want to lose what I thought I deserved, which in the grand scheme of things, I deserve so much more than that. And this guy, he is not a bad guy. Let me throw that out there. And I've said that before. None of these guys, I want to say, are just horrible in what they did while we were hanging out or kicking it or had our friendship or relationship. I don't think that they're bad guys. He's great. He's a great guy. But it did not negate the fact that I deserved more than what I guess I was allowing myself to go through and put up with and deal with. Because there were times over the past 12 years, obviously, where I wanted more out of a friendship. There are still times I want to be married. I want to have that partner in life. And so for me to settle all of those years with, hey, it's okay for us to just do whatever on the side. Why? It's not okay, because I deserved more than that. And you deserve more than that. And if that's what you're looking for, cool. This doesn't apply to you. Don't listen to what I'm saying. If all you want is someone you hit up and y'all do whatever and you don't want anyone to know about it, then fine, by all means. But if you are looking for more out of a relationship, out of a friendship, out of whatever, then you deserve that. And you should not spend 10, 11, 12 years not having that fulfillment, especially if it's something that you want. The last thing I write is, I don't deserve someone who never wants to be seen with me in public, and neither do you. You deserve to be seen. So be seen, girl. Be seen. And again, just want to reiterate that if that's what you desire from someone, do not settle for anything less than that. And I don't care how out of whack your hormones get and how much you want that fulfillment, because you're not going to get fulfilled. All those years, was I fulfilled in the moment? Absolutely. But then when I would go home and want to go get dinner with someone, he wasn't anyone I could hit up and say, hey, let's go get dinner, because we had already laid that platform and foundation of what we were. And so again, just know what you deserve, know what you want, and then don't accept anything less than what you want and what you deserve. Be cool with people for sure. Have that sense of privacy if that's what you desire. But again, if the person is coming from more of I'm ashamed to be seen with you, or I don't want to be seen with you, or they never initiate wanting to be seen with you, then you don't deserve that. They don't deserve you. And if it's something that you have to hide behind, something that you have to keep a secret from people, then you should probably ask yourself what you're doing in that situation anyways. So that's my thing about Be Seen, Girl, Be Seen. I want to be seen. I want you to take me to dinner. I want to go have drinks. I want to go skating. I want to go to the movies. I want to post a picture on social media. Maybe if it's the right situation, but I do want to be seen, and I work all the time on not involving myself with people that don't want that same thing. And that's okay if they don't, because they deserve to have what they want as well. So that's what I got for today. I hope you got something out of it. Don't fight to prove your love to a man. Don't fight for friendships and relationships if the other person isn't willing to work together with you. And if you want to be seen, be seen. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm super excited about our chapters next week, which are going to be Listen to Me and A Package Deal. So hope you tune in. Thank you. Love you. See you soon.